Well, good afternoon, friends. Today's video is about processing apples. I got 3 large bags of apples, 2 of Gala apples and 1 of Granny Smith. And we're going to make 3 different things out of them. Apple butter is going to be made out of half of them. And that's the reason why I got 2 bags of Gala and 1 of Granny Smith, because I have diabetes. And I'm trying to make apple butter without adding any sugar. And Gala apples are much sweeter. But I think that having 1/3 of the apples be Granny Smith with their tartness will give a complexity of flavor that I'm hoping for. So we'll have to see if that works. The other half of the apples, I'm drying in my food dehydrator for little apple pieces inside overnight oats, inside granola, and just for snacking, okay? Now we have saved all of the peels and the cores, and during the Nogales haul video, excuse me, of 2025, I said that I had a bottle of Bragg's apple cider vinegar. And I said this will be the last bottle of apple cider vinegar that I buy because we're going to be making it. So that's what the rest of it is used for. I have a giant jug and I'm putting all of the apple peels and cores inside of there, and we'll get right into it. Alrighty, we're about to make apple cider scrap vinegar in this big jar. Now, I bought 3 ginormous bags of apples, 2 Gala and 1 Granny Smith, and I peeled them all and cored them, and these are the peels and cores of all 3 bags, which is what we're going to use to make our apple cider vinegar with. Now, the apples I turned into 3 pints of apple butter and some dried apples, which I'll be showing you in a bit. Well, it looks like I guesstimated the size I needed for this jar pretty well. My goodness. Wonderful. Okay, this is not necessary, nor is it part of the recipe. I am going to include a little bit of Bragg's apple cider vinegar in this to inoculate it with this particular type of bacteria. I have made apple cider vinegar myself several times before, sometimes without the Bragg's and one time with the Bragg's. And the times that I made it without the Bragg's, it was a little sharper in taste. When I did it with the Bragg's, it was a little more mellow. I don't know, it's not that big of a taste difference, but it did seem to make a little bit of difference. So I'm going to inoculate these apples with a little bit of the Bragg's. Now, if you're going to do this, make sure that you shake the bottle well so that the mother is equally distributed throughout the liquid that you are using to inoculate your apples with. All right, so here's another part of the apple project. Okay, started with 3 bags of apples, 2 bags of Gala apples, and 1 bag of Granny Smith. The Galas are very, very sweet. The Granny Smith are very tart. I'm hoping for a complexity of flavor with the 2 being mixed, okay? So half of them I took and I made into these 3-pint jars of apple butter here. The other half I dried in my food dehydrator for snacking, for overnight oats, and to put in granola. Then all of the peels and cores I reserved and have set aside to make apple scrap vinegar. These 2 bottles over here are what I'm going to put the vinegar in when it's finished. I just got through washing them, that's why they're there. Obviously, they're not going to sit on my table for a month. And the apple peels have started their fermentation process in there. I'm going to inoculate it with the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. That is not necessary. I have made apple cider vinegar without inoculating it first successfully several times. I just kind of like the flavor. It's a little more mellow. I'm not sure exactly what bacteria they use to start their fermentation process, but I wanted some of that exact bacteria into my mix. Okay. So this is a 1/2 cup of honey, and this was a 1/2 cup of white sugar, which we added 2 teaspoons of molasses to make brown sugar. This is what I'm going to measure the apple cider vinegar out in. I'm going to take a 1/2 gallon of this, fill one of these with water, and put the 2 sugars together in the 1/2 gallon of water. Heat it for a little while to make sure that the sugars are thoroughly dissolved. Let it come back to room temperature. Then I will be pouring it over the apple pieces, adding the apple cider vinegar to it, and then filling it the rest of the way up with water. And we'll go on from there. I'll come back when my water's ready. Hi, working on those apples. The stuff is, liquid is on the stove now, heating up. But in the meantime, I was making these. I'm trying out this recipe. It's a 2-ingredient recipe. It was 1 small can of pumpkin and 1 envelope of Betty Crocker chocolate chip cookie mix. You don't add anything else. I sprayed a little bit of olive oil spray into the pan and mixed up the can and mixed up the cookie mix, and that was it. And so we're going to give this a try. If you would like, if you want to see 2-ingredient recipes and see me do stuff like that, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to accommodate. Well, I messed up. I thought I had the camera running and I didn't. I had the water, honey, sugar, and molasses mixture in this pot, and I had waited for it to come down to good temperature. And I had this funnel, and I showed transferring the liquid into there. I showed pouring the 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar into there. I showed mixing it all up, and I came back to review the footage, and I can't find it. So my remote must not have turned it on. So at any rate, tomorrow morning I will be filling this up to the neck with water, and then I will be putting a towel around it to keep it nice and dark, and putting it in a cupboard. And I will take it out once a day, open it, stir the apples and all to make sure that they're all equally coated in the liquid and stuff, and make sure that all the apples are submerged under the water. And yeah, it is water. And I understand that needs to go for a couple of weeks. It's been a while since I've done this, so we'll see. And there's my dried apples, and there's my apple butter. Now the apple butter, the reason why I used 2 bags of Gala apples to 1 bag of Granny Smith's, yes, I wanted depth of flavor with the 2 different flavor profiles of the different apples, but the Gala apples are a lot sweeter than the Granny Smith's are, and I have diabetes, so I'm hoping I did not use any sugar when I made those at all. And I haven't tasted them yet because all of it happened to fit perfectly in those 3 jars, and I canned them. So I'll have to give you a taste test, but I made those without sugar entirely, and I'm hoping that they will be sweet enough on their own. So we'll see. Alrighty. Okay, so it'll take about 30 days for it to really start smelling like vinegar. If at any time during that time you are noticing that there isn't really any activity, there isn't really anything happening, you can add some honey or some sugar to give more food to the bacteria. Now, when you make apple cider vinegar out of apples, you don't need to add as much sugar or honey because there's the sucrose, the natural fruit sugar that's inside the apples. But we're just using peels and cores, so there isn't quite as much sugar in there, so you may have to supplement. Now, as you go along, you may notice that there's a bit of sediment at the bottom, and that's the mother. That's the bacteria and the enzymes that you want, that you're making the apple cider vinegar for, as well as the flavor. And it will still smell like apples, but you'll notice after about 30 days that it starts getting that vinegary smell. Okay, when you're naming things scientific nomenclature, the order of things is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom would be the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom. For example, a phylum could be chordata, anything with a spinal cord. Class could be mammalia, a mammal, etc. Order, primates, which would include apes and humans, and family. Anyway, genus, we are Homo is our genus, and sapiens is our species. Now, in this bacteria, the family is Acetobacter AC, and the genus is Acetobacter, and the species is Rhodospiralis. Yeah, it's Lales. It's a little weird, but so that's the bacteria that you're looking for, and it is a aerobic bacteria. There are two basic types, aerobic or anaerobic. Aerobic needs oxygen, anaerobic is without oxygen. And if you have a compost pile, you know that you're trying to juggle the aerobic and anaerobic bacteria in your compost pile. Now, what we're trying to do here is to create an environment where the right types of enzymes and bacteria thrive in this mixture of your honey and your sugar and your water and your apples, so that it makes that really good gut bacteria. There are lots of reasons to use apple cider vinegar besides just flavor. A lot of people believe that it's very helpful in weight loss. It's very helpful to replenish gut bacteria, especially if you've had to do a course of antibiotics or something like that, where it's killed off a lot of your normal gut bacteria, or for any other reason. If you're not getting enough, if you're not having a terribly good diet at the time, to where you're not having the prebiotics that feed the intestinal and gut bacteria, then you can restart your system with the apple cider vinegar that has the mother in it. I was saying before, you might notice the sediment in the bottom. The sediment is the mother. That is the bacteria and the enzymes, and that is a good thing. You're wanting that. Now, there are some people on the internet that talk about making apple cider vinegar, and they say that if it gets mold on it, don't worry about it, just stir it in, and when it turns into vinegar, it will become an inhospitable environment and the mold will die off, etc., etc. I've never had mold on my ACV while I was making it. That may be because I stir it twice a day, and so the mold never really has a chance to start growing on the top. I'm thinking probably that the people that have that problem are the people who are not tending to it regularly. So we're going to take some pH strips. I want to show you. These are oops, it's backwards on here. Oh yeah, universal indicator papers of pH. And these strips show from pH 1 to 14. And if you notice, they're just little yellow strips of paper to begin with. And this is the chart. And what you want to do is drip your strip of paper into your apple cider vinegar that you're making, and we're going until it has a pH of 3, so that it's quite vinegary. And I will show that to you in just a moment. Alrighty, now you can see the bubbles that I'm talking about from it starting to ferment. And we are going to take one of these pH strips, also called litmus paper, and dunk it in. See what color we come out with. Alrighty. Okay, it's only been a week and 2 days, but you can see we're already coming in at 4 on the pH scale. So we're getting there quite quickly. Now, it doesn't smell like vinegar at all yet. It still totally smells like apples and sugar. So we've got a ways to go. Like I said, it'll be about 30 days. I'm really surprised that it tested this acid already. Now, a pH scale, in case you don't know, measures how acidic to how alkaline a substance is, generally aqueous or liquid substance, beginning at 0, the most acidic, up to 14, or the most alkaline, or sometimes called basic. It tells you technically how many hydrogen ions are in the solution, and it's a logarithmic scale, not an arithmetic scale. Each number is 10 times more than the last number. So number 5 has 10 times more ions than number 4 has. Okay, now if you are a canner, you should have pH strips, hopefully, because you need them to determine whether something can be water bath canned versus needing pressure canning. The pH strips will tell you where you are and which type of canning you need to use to can that particular type of food. Okay, the reason why the pH is important in canning, anything with a pH of 4.6 or lower is safe to water bath can, because botulism cannot live in that environment. It's inhospitable because it's too acidic and it cannot survive. If it is above 4.6 in pH, then it has to be pressure canned. You have to be able to bring it up to a temperature of 240 degrees to kill the botulism spores, and plain boiling doesn't get to that point. You need the pressure added to it to raise the temperature up to the 240 degrees on the normal stove to kill those botulism spores. Now, there is botulism all around us in the air all the time, but until they get into a good environment, they can't reproduce enough to be bothersome to us. But if you were to water bath can most vegetables or meats, for example, instead of pressure cooking it, that creates the perfect environment for botulism to breed. So that's why we need to pressure cook. And you should have pH strips so that you can tell where you are on that scale and whether it's safe to water bath can it or not. Now, there are some recipes where they add lemon juice or vinegar to the recipe to bring the pH into alignment without needing to pressure can. And for information on those, I would go to USDA or the University of Utah, or there's a University of Georgia, I believe, Ball canning books. Any really reputable source will tell you and will give you specific recipes. If it's something where vinegar or lemon does not adversely affect the flavor of the food, then you can use those liquids to acidify it to make it okay for water bath kit. Okay, so to wrap this up, I can't believe that I didn't think of this when I was filming the part about adding the vinegar, when I was so surprised that it was so acidic already. It's that acidic because I inoculated it with vinegar. So, of course, the process happened more rapidly because of adding that. Now, in my research about the bacteria, I discovered that the bacteria is exactly the same that happens naturally or from adding the Braggs. Okay, so I'm guessing that the reason why I thought the flavor was more mellow when I added the Braggs was because the process of fermentation happened faster because of the inoculation, and therefore did not taste as vinegary or as sharp. Okay, so that was just a logic problem that I did not make that leap at the time that I did this. So there's a little lesson on pH and a little lesson on botulism and why we need to do this. And I am very happy with the dried apple pieces, and I am very happy with the apple butter. I did not need to add sugar. I tasted it with on some toast yesterday, and it's quite good. And the recipes for these things, of course, will be listed below. And thank you so much for being here. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. Now, I do really like it when people tell me where they're watching from. I have a big world map, and I'm trying to accumulate people and places to put it. I keep pointing to this area because that's a big blank space, and I have my map, but I haven't had it installed yet. But so far, only 2 people have told me where they're from. Out of all the comments and stuff that I've gotten, I've only gotten 2 locations. And I'm afraid those 2 little push pins are going to be very lonely. So I need to, have some more so that they have some company. And please do push the like and subscribe buttons. That's very encouraging. And I want to thank you all for being here. And it's, a new year. And I hope that y'all are doing well and that you're blessed. All righty then. Toodles.